I have here with me a very good friend of mine, 3 years in, Angela Myers, extremely accomplished writer, track athlete, life coach, and many other things. So I present to you Angela Myers.
Good evening.
She has a ton of awards and all that good stuff that I'm not even speaking about. But is there anything you want to add?
No, that's not necessary.
That's not necessary. Okay. And you know what? I do want to acknowledge that Angela actually inspired me to write my book, The Black Box. And I picked up her book long time ago called Living Younger and read it. And she was kind enough to sign it for me. And she actually helped me edit The Black Box. So if you've read The Black Box, shout out to Angela because she actually helped me edit it and make it real and get it done. A tremendous person. And that's how you see the value of a woman that is high value. So that's what we're talking about today. We are talking about how to attract a high value woman. And she's so prepared. She even has some notes here, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm excited.
Yes.
I want to help you guys out, empower you, and give you some secrets and some practical takeaways, not just talking about theory, but actually I'm going to give you some homework and some practical stuff. So you might want to take notes. Why don't you say why you picked the topic tonight?
Why did I pick the topic?
Yes.
Oh, I'm trying to remember.
Does everybody know what the topic is tonight?
The topic is how to get a high value woman, how to attract her, how to retain her, how to get value out of a high value woman. And for me, guys are often talking about how do I get a woman?
Right.
Well, hell, you can get a woman. Anyone can, even homeless men have a little lady bum that'll deal with them. But the question is, how do you get a high value woman that's going to contribute to your life, make your life easier, more peaceful, make sure that every day she can be the coolness of your eyes? How do you get that woman who makes you wealthier? Because as far as the assassin goes, we're all about winning. Okay. So we want to bring a woman on the team that's an asset.
Correct. So the first step is to start with yourself. I always like to start inwards before we get outwards. And the main reason for that is that really the external, meaning the person you're trying to attract or the other people you're interacting with, you can't control them. What you can control is yourself, your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors, your feelings, your vibe. So we're going to start inside first. So tip number one to attracting a high quality woman, you might want to write this down, is get crystal clear about what you want.
I like that.
Yeah. So you actually going to need to write this down and put some thought into it, and don't make it just external. Obviously you want someone you're physically attracted to, but think about the qualities that you really want in a woman. Like, what's important to you? What would this high value woman look like? How would she think? Is she funny? Is she patient? Is she kind? Is she ambitious? Write down the stuff that you're attracted to in a woman. So you want to get crystal clear in your mind what you're looking for. And also on that list, write down what you do not want in a woman.
I'm glad you said that because I was like, let me not interrupt. But I was curious as if you were going to say, are there things we should write down to avoid?
Yes.
So that's very insightful.
Yes.
Now, why would the gentleman want to write down a full list of what they want? What if they're like, well, I know it in my head. She got to be shaped like Pat App.
When you write something down, it does something to your brain. It affects your actual, we call this manifestation. So if you have some thoughts and ideas in your head, they're just kind of floating around there, but they're not solidified and you're not so clear and you're not reminding themselves, when you meet somebody that maybe is physically attractive, you can kind of be, if you're not awake or really conscious of what you're looking for and what's important to you, you can be distracted by what you see on the outside.
If you didn't write, hold on. Write that down right now. She said, if you haven't written down the features that you want in the woman, the characteristics, the internal traits, when you see a big booty and a smile, you might get sidetracked. You might think that's the one you want because you haven't thought through what you really want. You get distracted, and men are easily distracted. As I've told you before, if you remove the sexuality, you remove the vagina from the woman, what value does she have? That was tremendous game. And one of the saints said, and I don't know if he's one of the saints, I don't know if he subscribes at www.patreon.com/thesaintandthesinner, which is where all the true believers subscribe, people who really support the work that I'm doing. But a gentleman said, how can a gazelle teach a lion how to hunt gazelle? Which there's a level of truth that a woman can't teach a man to be a leader necessarily. But that is extremely insightful. I didn't even get that. So this is very meaningful stuff. If you think that talking to a woman is not a wise way to learn about how to attract a high value woman, you're misguided. This is an educated one. This is a woman with awards in athletics of the body. This is a woman with awards of the mind, an author, a life coach. This is the woman people go to for help. Soak this game up.
So number one, start with yourself, because that's the only thing you can truly control in this fact. Write down what you want. Internal, not just from the outside of the woman, because you already know what you're attracted to. Write down the qualities you're attracted to, and write down what you do not like. That's the part where I left off.
Yes.
So if you already know you don't like women who are dishonest or flirty or whatever characteristics, too aggressive or too shy or whatever, write that down too, because learn from your past. What are the things that you don't want to repeat? What are the qualities that you don't want to attract? Okay, so you want to get clear on that. We get a clear image. And then the second part, again, this is some internal work for you guys, some homework, so you might want to write this down, is what kind of man would she be looking for? Are you that man? What kind of qualities would she want in a man? So you have to kind of look at yourself and say you're wanting a woman who is, an 8 or a 9, or is this super high quality woman? Are you a super high quality man? Do you have value in yourself to offer to her? Point 2, which is look at yourself. Are you the kind of quality man, the value of man that would attract this kind of woman? Do you need to be better with your finances? Do you need to have better hygiene? Do you need to do better with your time? Like, make some lists of some upgrades you want to do to yourself, so that you can carry yourself with some pride, like maybe carry yourself like a 10, knowing you want to attract a 10.
So you saying a Toyota is not about to attract a G-Wagon Mercedes, right? You saying you kind of got to look the part to even get in the game. Okay.
But like, let's say the Toyota shines himself up really good and carries himself well and takes pride.
Go to the car wash, get the wax on it, shined up, it's sparkling.
Get that engine tuned. Hey. So it's not about, it's more about you knowing that you have value to offer. Along with this, and these points 3 and 4 kind of go together. But think about this. What do you have to offer her? So I know I think it would be hard to be a man. I'm glad I'm not a man.
You ain't lying, you ain't lying.
There's a lot you guys need courage, there's a lot to learn. But one thing that would help to bring up your level of confidence when approaching a high value woman is if you are aware of everything you have to offer. So again, I'm big on journaling. This would be a great journal entry for you. It's to write down all this you're bringing to her. Get really aware of your strengths and your assets and what you have to give to her. Women are attracted to men with confidence. So one thing that sometimes guys think that they have to put confidence on the outside, meaning the type of car they roll up in or their clothes or how much money they have or that sort of thing. That's not really it though. Those are maybe signs of confidence, but confidence is knowing who you are and who you are as a person, like what value you have to bring to her. So again, journaling that, getting clear on it. Sometimes we're not clear on it. Sometimes we're hard on ourselves. Sometimes we think our self-talk is like we don't think we're good enough. We think we're a loser, that sort of thing. I know people talk to themselves as a life coach. I bring that out. And sometimes people are not very affirming, uplifting of themselves. Right. So when you intentionally journal about what you have to offer, and you get that straight and you start focusing on that, it builds a feeling of confidence. Another thing that builds a feeling of confidence is back to step 2 when I said make a list of upgrades, like who are you offering, what value you're bringing to her, and if there's areas you need to improve after some honest self-reflection. When you start making upgrades on yourself, that automatically brings your confidence up.
Because you're actually better. You're not pretending. Exactly. You're not having an abundance mindset. Exactly. You actually are better.
Yes, okay. You're not just trying to hype yourself up. You're starting to feel good as you're taking actions to improve yourself. So say one thing is say maybe you're kind of out of shape or you have a poor diet, and you start making changes. Automatically that brings up your level of confidence because you feel proud of the actions you're taking. Or say your finances have been sloppy and you start making some changes to get things in order. You feel proud of yourself. Like you don't have to fake that. That's something that's just there because you're bringing value because you've added value to yourself.
It's all the way real.
Yeah.
And let me just throw in some commentary about high value people. For example, Angela's a track athlete, an award-winning track athlete. Now, I said, let's go out, let's box. She pulled up in my city talking about, let's work out, let's hit the gym. So we go out, we do a boxing workout. She got a busted lip by the end of the workout, man, but she went hard. That's a standards thing. Mess around, get her lip busted, and be cool. Like, let's run a mile after that. That's a standard that someone lives by. You understand? High performing people generally perform high in everything they choose to do. That is the key. Be a high performer and look for those who are like you. How many women are going to go out and work out with you and do the boxing workout? And she messed around and went so hard. A random guy walked up after we were finished. She was like, hey, man, that was some good sparring. As though this is what she does, right? She was looking like she does this. So those are the kind of experiences that you're looking for. But hey, here's the trick. We could have never went out for a good workout if I wasn't in shape, because I wouldn't have felt comfortable taking a fine athlete such as her to work out with her, because I would have felt in fear, like I was going to underperform, get outrun by a woman, which is what you don't want. You heard me? Now, there was a super chat. If we missed your super chat, just type in super chat in all caps and then write your question. We're going to answer this super chat by Icebreaker. Thank you for the super chat. Saint writes, so what if you are not a high value man yet? Can you still have high standards?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, high standards are amazing, as long as you have high standards for yourself as well.
Would you disregard a bad/promiscuous past if the woman or man has grown as a person in this present moment? So
Great
that's question one, and then we're going to come back to number two.
Do you want to answer that, or do you want me to answer that?
Okay, look. If the woman was promiscuous in the past, me personally, I'm going to be suspicious of her, because although people do change, it is very infrequent that people are able to improve themselves and sustain that change. Improving is one of the most difficult things we can do. That's why we have the Assassin and we have weekly strategy meetings so that you can improve and achieve your goals, because it's that hard. You will need support. That's why we do that. It's that difficult. So when someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm a brand new woman. Yeah, sure. I used to eat cock for breakfast, but now I'm eating Wheaties for breakfast and I'm a better person. I'm not promiscuous anymore. I'm tempted to not believe her. And I always want to plant my seed in fertile ground. So if I can take a woman who has had a background where she was a respectable woman versus a woman who had a background going through the much rather have a young lady who has a background of doing the things I want to see, because obviously past performance is likely an indicator of future performance, right? So if someone's been obese their whole life, I wouldn't all of a sudden expect them to be slim and trim. Someone who's been slim and trim their whole life, I think it's highly likely that they will continue being slim and trim, having a good diet. So I say that to say, generally speaking, plant your seed in fertile soil. Go for the woman who already has the characteristics that you want. Don't try to change her or expect her to change or listen to her words about her changing. That's number one. And I think that kind of goes for men and women, because we're all human beings and changing is difficult for everybody, right?
It is. But I would say something to add to that is you're not dating who that person was in the past. You're dating who they are right now. So if someone has claimed to change, there's the words, right? Then what you would want to see tangible actions that they did to prove that they changed. In other words, did she, I guess, am I addressing females or males?
You can address both.
Oh, so for a male who maybe had a rough past, but then is presenting as a high value man, then I would want to know, like, well, what did you learn from that? What did you learn from those mistakes you made? And what helped you to change? Like, did he invest in books? Did he invest in seminars? Did he invest in a coach or a therapist or something that like helped him learn from the bad decisions? Then I would trust the change, because I would see the process and I would see the pain that caused him to want to be a better man. So I wouldn't totally write off somebody with a bad or promiscuous past or who made bad decisions in the past if I saw the fruit of the present, who I have in the present.
You need evidence on the growth.
Yes.
They can't just be saying, hey, I was locked up for 30 years for killing 4 people, but now I'm cool.
And to your question, someone with a bad or promiscuous past, a female, how does she feel about it? Is she kind of proud or flippant about it? Like, yeah, I did that. It was, or is she like genuinely not sorry for her actions, but is she genuinely regretting some of the decisions she's made in the past? Because I think that's a good indicator too of whether they'll repeat it. If there's like genuine distaste or remorse for things that happened in the past versus flippancy about it.
I agree. They've stopped thinking in that errant way.
Right.
And in the case of women, they have a new philosophy and they've left the holosophy, right?
Yeah.
I agree. That's a very good point. And I like what you said about not throwing away people. If someone has made a sincere change, to be a hearer of what they've said and an observer of their actions, to say, okay, well, maybe this person is really what they say they are. Take a look, see. But take a look with a suspicious eye, God damn it. Second part of the question.
Do you want me to answer this or do you?
First, let me just say the term partner. In the Sasson, we don't really use the term partner in as much as this term comes from the LGBTQP community. They use the term partner to remove gender from relationships. Instead of the term girlfriend or boyfriend or wife or husband, they use the term partner to make it gender neutral. So that is not of our way. So we generally do not use this language. I do just want to make that known. Now, to read your question, also, what is your take on a partner's other male/female friends in a relationship?
Okay, that's a great question. I work with a lot of couples. I've dealt with people who have had affairs, that sort of thing. And I would say to be extremely careful of that. You need to have clear boundaries around yourselves. It's kind of like if you know there's an area that you're weak in or that your partner's weak in, then what you do to protect yourself is you just don't set yourself up in that area. You have boundaries to protect you. So if the person has other friends of another gender, so if your girlfriend has other guys who are friends, then get some commitments together about boundaries. Like, okay, well, we promise that we'll never ride in a car alone with someone of the opposite gender. We promise that we'll never go out to dinner or lunch or breakfast with someone of the opposite gender. We promise that we will leave our, phones flipped up, or whatever it is that's comfortable for you and her. You want to have boundaries that are a commitment to each other, because it's very tricky with friendships when things go rocky in a relationship. And here's this person that's a friend and they're just nice to you and they're listening to your problems. You're getting emotional intimacy there. And that's just one step away from turning into physical expression. And again, this is coming from years of working with people who have had affairs, and it's a lot of times it starts as friendships. So I'd say be very careful about the friendships. Have clear, upfront, well communicated commitments to each other, things you will and won't do with the opposite gender.
What if, because I know the guys are listening to this thinking, okay, well, what if I go to my girl and say, hey, love, you got a couple friends, a damn football team of friends, and there's that one guy, Randy, Mr. Friendly. I don't really like that relationship. Can you cut him off? What if they're saying, like, they're naming specific people, like, cut that guy off. That guy's weird. He's going too hard. I could tell he's just hiding in the bushes, waiting to jump out and get some ass. What's your advice for guys doing that? Because I know a lot of these gentlemen are thinking, there's one guy right here I'm suspicious of.
Yeah.
So how's that go?
I think that's fair to ask of their girlfriend.
That's reasonable.
That's reasonable. And she should have the respect to honor that request.
Okay, so she should be accepting of that if she really wants you.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you have a good man and he's asking for something, is it worth losing a good man over somebody who's a friend? You can have a dozen friends, right?
Infinite number of friends, but one good man is priceless.
Exactly.
Talk to the saints. Now, what if she says, hell nah, Randy, big dick Randy, Randy is just a friend. He's just a friend. And he's going to stay, so you can take it or leave it. Then what would you recommend to the guy?
I would say there's a really high chance that relationship won't work out
in the long run.
Yeah, because as soon as your partner, as soon as your boyfriend or girlfriend knows that they don't pick you first, that's where resentment kicks in. And your second, third, fourth, fifth, that's not going to work long term.
So your spouse has to be a priority.
Yes.
Above all others.
Yeah, if you want an amazing relationship. And that goes for her too. If she asks something from you, you pick her first.
Saints, newsflash again. If you didn't write that down, write that down. Your spouse should be a priority over all others. Now, what about family? What if your girlfriend has an annoying ass little sister? And the little sister always getting your business, and the little sister every now and then even just hopping in your DM, sending reckless stuff. Like what if you got something like that? Then what? How do we navigate that?
That's a great question. I would say that not everybody might disagree. Okay, if you don't disagree with this is fine. But I would say at the end of the day, the person that you choose to be with, your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever, that's your person. Like, yes, it's your family, but your family is not building life with you. Your family's not sucking your dick. Your family's not paying your bills.
Hopefully they ain't. Hopefully your family's not sucking your dick.
Your family's not giving you that, right? They're just your biological, your blood family. So like, if you're, now you're saying if a guy's, if his girlfriend's sister, right,
is all up in your damn business.
Ask for boundaries. Be like, hey, this is really bothering me. Huh?
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up.
What are some boundaries you can, like, what can we do about your sister because this is interfering with our relationship?
That's right. And I like that everything you're recommending in the context of relationships is open and honest. They're not playing games. They're not beating around the bush. They're saying, hey, look, this is what I find problematic. Would you mind taking this action? Straightforward. We're not playing games.
Right.
I like that. It's open and honest communication. M. Garvey, thank you for the super chat. Saint writes, tuition for the game. I'm working right now, but I'll catch the replay. Shout out to you, Quet, and the whole Sassin. Saints in the Nation. Appreciate it, Garvey. And that's a level of dedication. That's why we love the Saints, because it's like family. They all show up. Garvey's clearly working, but he just wanted to holler at the big homie. So we truly appreciate that. So peace to Garvey. Peace to all the Saints. Carrying on.
I have more stuff.
Talk to the people.
Okay.
Talk to the people.
Okay, so to recall, step one is to get super clear about what you're looking for in a woman and what you won't tolerate anymore, what you don't want, right? Then number two, be that man, write a list of upgrades. Is there anything you need to improve in yourself to offer? Be clear. And then as far as the confidence piece, be clear about know your value, know what you're offering to her. Right now, I don't mean just like a good job, a fit body, but like, no, I'm a man of integrity. I'm a man who keeps his word. I'm a man who's humble, a man who's honest, whatever your qualities are too.
Right.
So that. Step three, this is a huge one for guys, and I meet so many men.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a secret, right? That you don't hear this much. What women love, like what lights a woman up, is your presence. You're present. I don't mean physical presence. I mean when you are emotionally present with a woman.
Okay.
So the number one way you do this is you get out of your head and get out of you and get into her. You feel her.
Right.
So when you're talking, if you want to, and I'm going to give you some more homework too. If you want to start practicing this, every woman that you encounter, whether it's a waitress, a clerk at the gas station, your mom, your sister, start practicing it, because so many men that I meet don't know how to do that. So if you say you're a little nervous, there's an attractive woman, you want to approach her, and you're in your head, maybe you're thinking about yourself, like, how do I look? What should I say? How will I come across this way? Will she like me? Right. You're not being present. You're in your head. And she's going to sense that when you approach her. When you make it about her and you think, I want to make her smile, I want to make her feel good, I want to get curious about her and interested in her, it gives you more confidence, because you can't control how she thinks and feels about you and how you come off, but you can control the level that you invest in her when you approach her. So
look, time number 5. If you didn't write that down, write that down. And this is something that we are often referring to, and she's reiterating core values that you already should know if you follow www.patreon.com/thesaintandthesinner. We call it how to Dr. Filler. You heard me? You got to get into her head, figure out what her priorities are, think about what's going to make her feel good.
Right.
And I love the fact that she says you're going to run into problems when you're being a me monster. Everything's about I want to feel confident when I talk to her. I need to look good. No, worry about making her feel like she looks good.
Yes.
I like what you're talking about. And I want to just take it one step further. It turns out all human beings that you engage in are more interested in themselves than in you. So anytime you can be in the other person's head, you can be investing in the other person, whether it's a woman you're interested in or a man who's your boss, and you can invest in that other person and compliment them and think about them, you're going to get good outcomes. So I love that piece. That's so aligned with our core philosophy. And she formulated that in a different way that I hope really impacted you guys. Moses Wright, fun fact, don't publicly refer to them as bitch.
Do you think being a single father makes you lower value in the eyes of a woman with no children? Absolutely not. I find it very attractive when a man is a great dad. It shows a high value woman that you have the commitment, the ability, the discipline to be a good dad, the ability to love outside yourself, the ability to be selfless in what you give. So I think it's actually very attractive when someone has a child and is a great mother. So no, that does not make you lower value.
Thank you. That's a great answer. And that's coming straight from a woman. And there are some things that I think women might not know about themselves, but a question like that, I couldn't even speculate on. So I'm happy that I have your perspective.
Yes.
Also be careful with hitting your chair on there so that we don't distort the sound. So that was a great question. Thank you. And also, Shamar, I'm glad you put that question forward, because often men proceed unconfidently. Men proceed with doubts. At the end of the day, we all have things that are imperfect about us. Some of us got a lazy eye. Some of us have a withered arm. Some of us are overweight. Some of us speak with a lisp. No one is perfect. So regardless of what your situation is, take what God gave you and strut. You must go forward like a fearless lunatic, because, hey, guess what? It's not going to change. You're going to always have that kid. That kid ain't going to disappear. So that's what you got. Strut with what you got. And I just want to give you a really quick anecdote from David Goggins. Goggins said, when you're going to go into a building as a Marine, you can peek your head around nervously and see who's in that building. It could be a terrorist in there to blow you up. It could be someone with an AK-47 ready to shoot you. So you can peek in nervously, or you can bust in there like Rambo. Either way, you got to go through the door. So the question is, do you want to go through that goddamn door like Rambo, or do you want to peek in like a fairy? Huh? If you're going to go through the door any goddamn way, go through that goddamn door like Rambo. Now, back to you. Back to you. Wait, let me see if we got some more super chats to honor the people. William Smith, peace, Saint, just paying his tuition. Truly appreciate it. And shout out to the Saint looking good. Gentlemen, anytime you dress up and you look good, you're going to be empowered. So I love to see young men dressed up in the suit. And what you will notice, you can get away with a lot more when you're in a nice suit. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. That's power.
Everything that I'm telling you today in attracting a high value woman, it's a skill, just like anything else. When Marquett Black says he makes it look fluid, flawless, amazing, like so easy. But it's because of the thousands and thousands of hours spent and the reps doing that to make it look that way. So anything that you want to be great at in any area of your life, you just have to put in the reps and develop skills. So all the stuff that I'm telling you, it just is practice and it's developing skills. And as you start to approach every woman in your life with this kind of desire to leave something of value with her and to be present with her, it's a skill that'll start to come more and more naturally to you. And it's so easy to do. And also will build your confidence, because you're going to start to see how women respond to you when you just invest in them and give them energy. It'll definitely build confidence that way as well.
Practice is the mother of skill.
So if I can leave you with one thing, men, this is as far as retaining a high quality woman, women thrive on your attention. They just do.
Okay.
And a lot of men forget that. And so they know that they love her and they're like trying to show her, they feel like they're doing the right things and she's not getting it and she's unhappy. And that makes them feel, a good quality man doesn't feel good when his woman's not happy, and it starts to create dissonance in the relationship. One super easy thing you can do to retain a woman in your life that you love and who's high quality is to give her attention. At a Tony Robbins conference, he nails this into the guys. He has them repeat back, how much does a woman need an attention? And the response is all the fucking time. Okay. And I'm just leaving that with you. It's something that lights a woman up. When I've looked at successful relationships versus like all the ones I see that aren't successful, a main thing is those men know that their woman needs their time and attention. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It's not amount of hours. It's small little things. It can even be sending an emoji that lights her up. It can be a text. It can be a picture. It can be a song.
Or is this
this is to maintain the relationship.
This is once you're in a relationship.
This is once you're in it. Yeah. So a lot of guys do a great job in the beginning, when they're attracting women, when they're starting, because everything is off of a lot of emotions of the feelings are all there and excitement and the newness, and then things start to fade. And so a lot of people say they fall out of love. Not every couple, just a lot of couples. So if you look at the ones that are successful and happy, it's like those men know how to maintain the woman just by continually just giving her every day. It's just like a muscle. You don't work out once a week and get great results. You don't water your plant once a week and have a healthy plant. You don't feed your dog once a week and have a healthy dog. Gotcha. Everything that you want to build and invest in, it needs repeated, consistent little actions, not huge actions. They don't have to be big things. They're little things done every day over time. You're
saying once you're in the relationship and the woman is already bought into you, then you can leverage your attention to maintain the relationship and keep the bond strong.
Yes.
Now, I imagine a lot of guys are thinking at the beginning of the relationship, sometimes they are beginning of the engagement with the female. You just met her. Maybe you just exchanged contact info. You are about to go on a first date, or you've went on a first date, and they feel as though they've poured some attention onto the female, but she's not responding well. The attention has not been effective. So tell us a little bit about that. If you have any insights on the early stage of just meeting the woman, how do you build in that connection and that bond? Is it attention? Is it something else? What's going to be the key to that?
I think that's a little more complex. Like if perhaps she's not into, are you saying like, what if she's not into the person? Or if you think she is into the person?
How does a guy get a woman into him? So you met her, maybe you exchanged contact information, you're trying to get her out on the first date, or you've gotten her out on the first date. What are some things a guy can do to solidify the bond between him and a high value woman?
That's a great question. Okay, I would say go back to number 3 when you're getting inside of her and letting her know that you're interested, that you care, that you want to feel her, not just know her. So men are a masculine trait is to be very logical and concrete and that sort of thing, but a woman is flowing and intuitive and emotional. So a man has to learn how to connect, like how to try to connect with her heart, right? Which does not come easy to a man. And so one way that he can kind of retain her is by speaking more on a heart level to her than,
There are 2 things I like that you said. You said, 1, the man has to appeal to the woman's heart.
Yes.
That's not only at the beginning, that's all the time. You have to be able to appeal to the woman's heart. That's hugely important. I don't even know if I've said that enough times. And then the second thing I really like, because guys are probably listening like, oh, well, you got to be into her. You got to do this and that. I talk to a lot of women and they don't respond well to that. But I think when we're talking about high value women, they can appreciate a man who's sincerely interested in them because a high value woman is actually interesting. So you have sincere things to be curious about. And she actually has a lot of experience and accomplishments to talk about and share with you. So you're valuing her traits, which are actually exceptional and should be valued.
Yeah, I would say if you genuinely aren't interested in what your girlfriend or this girl that you like is talking about, you probably shouldn't be with her. If you don't find the conversation interesting, I mean, or you really want to set up for a long amount of time having to pretend to listen because the conversation isn't interesting. I wouldn't want to do it if it was reversed. So I would say if that's some men say they have a hard time listening, but I think a lot of times it's just, yes, we can always work on the listening skills, but if the person you're with is going on and on about their cat or something, or you just have such a different, say the attraction was there and that's what started the relationship. Exactly. But as you start to interact with each other, you find like, man, she's so attractive, but like conversations flat, not that interesting.
She's a dumb I know you. We have 2 of the saints who are here. We're gonna go ahead and in. Moses, peace, Saint. Okay, we just merged him in and his camera went off. Darnell, how are you, Saint? Talk to us.
I have a question.
Yes.
It'll go to both of you. When it comes to high value women, what I noticed as far as my experience dealing with high value women with degrees, women that's doing well, in order for them women to do well, they gotta, they're going to school, they gotta have a fire burning mentality to be successful, to reach that upper echelon. In order to be successful, like yourself, you got a book, you're a track star, so you're doing well, but you wasn't doing that being, just soft. You got to be kind of hard. So with that being said, a lot of times of what I dealt with when I deal with high quality women with degrees, stricken on the wall and all of that, is because that they had that going through the rigors of being successful and gaining a mentality, then once they get home to their man, sometimes it's hard for them to shut it off. And I know we like feminine women. They can't be two lions with manes. It's not going to it's not going to connect. So what do you say to, because a lot of women do this, the more successful they are, you know, sometimes they talk to the man as if they're like a subordinate. But it's because, you know, they've been successful for so long, and it's hard for them to go back to that femininity. That's very important, you know. So a lot of times it's kind of easier to date a waitress, to date a woman that may not be as as educated, which is nothing wrong with that. But just the nature of the beast of you being successful, you are having a certain type of mentality, and it could be hard to shut off. And sometimes it's, you know, it could be masculine. So what do you say about that with women?
That's an excellent point. You're spot on with that. So one thing that would draw out more of the feminine qualities of a woman who kind of operates in the professional world with more masculine qualities. So when a man offers strength and safety, it allows her to relax into that. Then she doesn't have to be strong. Then she doesn't have to prove herself. Then she doesn't have to protect herself. So the more that a man can be strong, but not in a domineering, loud, not strong as sometimes we think about, but just more like a quiet strength that allows her to let her guard down. That's one way you can disarm a woman, is offering the strength so that she doesn't have to be, and the safety so that she doesn't feel like she needs to protect or defend herself or keep things on point like she does at work. Yeah. So it's another thing too, for a man. A lot of people say like a man can't be threatened by those qualities. Another thing that he can do is to constantly affirm, meaning I'm not threatened by your success or by what you've achieved. Like I affirm you, I value you, I admire you. Those sorts of things allow her to relax as well, because then she doesn't feel like she needs to prove herself or be anything other than just her softer side of herself. But you bring out an amazing point. I've actually heard that struggle.
I don't know if I'm going to tell you to affirm the woman and saying that you're not threatened. I don't think that you need to state that you're not threatened if you're not threatened.
No.
But I would say that if you actually are not threatened, that should be apparent, right?
Yeah, that's a silent.
Yeah.
Right.
The sad thing is that some are threatened, and then you're going to encounter a problem. But if you find the woman being masculine, I would have a straightforward conversation with her and figure out what her values are. And I would say, hey, love, at your job, you might be the boss, but when you come to this home, you're the queen. Now, remember, the king is over the queen. And if you don't believe in that stuff, then, things aren't going to work. I'm going to show you respect and appreciation according to your merits. And the one thing I love about you is that you are a strong woman. That's why I have you.
That's affirming, right? When you say that,
right? And I can appreciate your strength, and you submit to me. It means even more because you are a strong woman, and you're offering me all of your strength and all of your skills and your intellect, and you're laying that down at my feet. So that's an honor to me. So I would let her know that straight up from the beginning, because as they say, the way you start with a woman is the way you end with a woman. You cannot come in with a soft pimp hand and think all of a sudden you're going to turn into Goldie Mac next week. No. You have to establish these standards from the beginning in a respectful way. As she said, not to be a tyrant, but to let her know in our household, there's an order to things. That's something that's going to work for you. And if she tells you it's not going to work for her, then fantastic. That's okay, but that's not okay here. Right. In the words of St. Gaius, we have a number of folks on, so we're going to merge in a few folks. Darnell, stay on with us for a little bit. If you got any game you want to share with the people. First, I do want to address two things. We want to acknowledge this question from one of the lady saints. Samira writes, what find attractive depends on her background, the household, upbringing, and environment she is from. These factors have an impact on one's focus. So Samir's giving some game, basically saying, look into the female's background to understand who she is, right? And apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Okay, we're going to go ahead and merge in.
One thing to back up what Samir is saying, too, is so with men, if you're being who you are, and we went through the steps of how to start to develop value in yourself, know what you want, what you're attracted to, what you don't want, all these things. And you approach a woman that you're interested in, and to Sarah's point, she might just not be interested in some of the things that you are or some of the things that you do, and that's okay to move on. Like, you don't ever want to change who you are to be what you want her to be. That will never work in the long run and will build resentment for you and for her. So you don't ever want to change. You have value to offer, and for the right woman, it's exactly what she needs.
We added the Saint in. Is it pronounced Niall? Niall? How's your name pronounced, Saint?
Niall.
Niall. Okay, very, very easy. How are you, Saint? Talk to us. What's on your mind?
Good. Figured I'd put my government name this time.
For sure. Appreciate you standing up on all 10 and being who you are. Did you have some thoughts, questions, comments for us? I
have a question. So first of all, you made me to a savage, so I'm just gonna say it as it is, okay?
Yeah.
Why do I gotta ask how her day is? Like, I really, like, why would I care?
I'm
not trying to be rude, but as soon as I'm coming home, I'm only there for one thing and one thing only, and after that, I'm playing video games.
Okay, and I'm sorry, I have to be real with you. You're not going to attract a high quality woman with the attitude. Like, it's just you're not in the stage. There's no problem with that. But maybe in a couple of years, you'd be more ready for that. But at this point, like, just be honest about it. Like, the best thing you can do is when you approach a woman, like, if you're just looking for friends with benefits, like, just be upfront, like, hey, I'm not into a relationship, but do you want to hang out? Because women will still, there might be a couple that'll say yes. So if you're not really looking for a relationship or a high value woman, then don't even worry about it. Like, you don't have to care about her day or stop playing video games. So.
Also, how can you tell if her words aren't matching up with like what she actually means? Because they do that a lot.
That's a great question. You have to look at her, try to get to know her circle. For example, if you don't really know anybody, like you don't really know much about her work or her family or her friends or anything like that, and she's just telling you who she is, but you don't have a lot of ways to verify that, I can really understand why you'd be concerned, because some women unfortunately do lie or do misrepresent themselves. So yeah, you want to try to get to know her context, trying to get to know the people around and see if that matches up with who she's saying she is.
Yeah.
Now, look, I'm glad she brought that up, because I've met a number of chicks who are like, oh yeah, my friends are hoes. You know, my friends, they go to the club and they be meeting guys and go home with them, but I don't do that. Bitch, you're lying. Look.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get a charge on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If her friends are whores, she's 9 out of 10 a whore. They're birds of a feather flock together. On average, Black women are too masculine, period. And I will tell that to anybody. And when I talk about,
he's absolutely right. What he's saying is true. So hey, if you hear me out there, he is right.
Yeah.
I'm here to verify that. I experience it also. There are good Black women out there. So let's go ahead and say that. Black women, right. If you're listening, we love you. You're wonderful. We're just talking about some of your friends, aunties, and whoever, okay? They're out there. That's all we're saying. Not everybody.
That's right. And the thing is, I love Black women. And if he was an honest person looking at the data, I don't have a single video with the word Black woman or Black female in the title. I've never made a video about Black women because I don't have anything that I need to correct in them as a group. I'm not attacking them. I don't have any of that. I don't have any women videos bashing Black women. But if someone asks me squarely a straightforward question, I'm going to let you know. And here's another thing about successful Black men dating women outside of their race. Use common sense. If African Americans are in the lowest economic class, if you become successful on my level and you're in an industry called technology, you do not encounter Black people, male or female. So when I'm at the Ritz-Carlton for a gala, there aren't any Black women or Black men there usually, unless they're serving the fucking drinks. Now, are you expecting me to want to date the girl who's serving the drinks when I'm there as a patron who's well-to-do? No, I'm going to look for people on my level. However, if a Black woman did approach me that was on my level, I'd be more than overjoyed. And let me give you a quick anecdote. while we talking about it, last year in Washington, D.C., at the Ritz-Carlton in Tyson's Corner, I was there, suited and booted, and I saw a really good-looking black woman who worked for a company called Motley Fool. Light-skinned thing, very attractive in a red dress, looked very, very good. So I went and hollered at her, and I said, hey, I'd love to take you out after this. I'm in town just for a couple days, so I'm pretty stacked up. But like after this, would you like to, catch up and chat? She says, yeah, but who's that woman you're with? I said, the woman I came with is my date. We're at a gala. I had 2 tickets because I support this organization. I didn't want to come by myself. She was like, yeah, but I don't know. I don't feel comfortable because you're with that woman. I said, do you think that I'm going to walk up to you and ask for your number while I'm here with another woman that I'm romantically involved with? It's just the level of contention that black women are going to confront you with. The truth is most of them are self-saboteurs. They don't believe they deserve anything good. So when a good black man or a successful black man approaches them, they don't act right. They need some act right. So I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that they're good to go. They're not. They need to sign up for patreon.com/thesaintandthesinner and get some of this motherfucking game on how they can play their part as a worthwhile female. Because a guy like me, a hustler who gets everything else that he wants in life, I'm not going to take a fall down bitch just because she's colored brown. You heard me? I'm going for the top level. And if the Rolls Royce is brown, black, white, blue, I don't give a shit as long as it performs like a Rolls Royce. You heard me. Darnell, you got any words for that one?
Yes, according to blackdemographics.com, black women are the least married women right now. Go check the stats, okay?
Right.
According to blackdemographics.com, black women are the most overweight women. Check this, okay? The most masculine women. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the black community as far as when it comes to women. I'm just telling you like it is. I wish I could be making this up, but I'm not. You could go out there. Matter of fact, I want y'all to do an exercise. Tomorrow, when you go out in the world and look at all the women and see who's overweight. And come back at me and come back at me and holler at me. Okay. And I'm not saying this to be mean or rude or anything, but sometimes the truth is the truth. So what we have to do, and then the masculine thing. Yes, we understand that a lot of black women, raise a single family household, and then they got to play the masculine role, but they got to learn how to shut that off once they get a good quality man. And then they complain about, where all the good men at? Then they hit 40, then it's harder for them. I'd say that.
Right.
It's harder for them. You know what I'm saying? So what Marquett is saying is true, okay? We're just trying to enlighten you so it can be highlighted so y'all will know this. So, I mean,
that's right.
That's
I appreciate it, fam. I appreciate it. I want to acknowledge some of the super chats. Count Rios super chatted. Thank you for that. And we're going to do a few more and get back to this game. Silos writes, Chapin, appreciate the game. Thank you for the love, Silos. And then who else we have on the super chat? Talks with P, right? School is in session. Preston is on the Saints Council doing a lot of work to make sure this conference is popping off. There have been a lot of conference tickets sold. If you haven't gotten your conference ticket, go to thesassin.com/conference to get your ticket. I'll type it in right here so that no one blames me for not being able to get their ticket. And Jabrizzi just filled it out as well. I think that's the link for you. Go ahead and get your tickets. And I want to acknowledge a few more super chats. Rex, the Olympian, writes, I would love to chime in regards to the gentleman that just left the chat. Rex, if you're in here, I'm going to go ahead and merge in some folks. We got a number of folks waiting. I'm going to merge them in shortly. So if you want to hop on, please do. Elvin writes, they hella masculine, bro. You ain't never lied. And it's not just the sisters who are masculine. We got some crazy ass white feminists that's out there tripping as well. I ain't going to lie to you. Most of them live in San Francisco in the Bay Area, if you're wondering. Arsene writes, only American black women. I wish that were true, but you're right in terms of African women being a lot more feminine. You're not lying about that. But African American women they're a rare bird, and there are historical factors that have contributed to their behavior. But guess what? I'm not dating history. I'm dating an individual woman. So I don't need to know all that background. I need to know how you're behaving today because I don't have time to invest in a fixer-upper. I want to go to a house that's already ready for me to live in. You heard me? So let's see. Have a 3-part question for Angela. Okay, my friend. Fables writes, they are the most masculine indeed. Looks like the Saints have a lot of common sense. Carrying on. Vontae, thank you for the super chat, writes, well put. It's a numbers game. I too prefer black women, but opportunity come to those that swing the bat. True statement. I like how he put that. Opportunity comes to those that swing the bat, but you're saying take your shot. Jordan M. Sweller writes facts. And I think he's talking about facts when that little fruitcake, the kid who eats Fruity Pebbles, hopped on talking to him. He's damn near about to cry. I'm leaving this suit. I'm leaving. A little weirdo. I love these guys. Derek writes, Sasson Conference, January 30th and 31st. Make sure you are there. There's some tickets still available, but not for long. Come meet St. Marquett in person. Absolutely. It's going to be a great time. Saturday night, we're all going out in Vegas. Can you imagine being in Hotopia with 300 of your best buddies going out and having a good time? It's going to be just a real pleasure. I invite all of you to grab your tickets and come, fellowship with us. Did he believe you meant masculine in features or in actions? Mervin, I know he was acting so foolish. You wonder what he did understand of my comments. Marcellus writes, thank you for the super chat. Marcellus writes, crazy how people buy the Patreon and don't watch the videos. Black women must be masculine because the men are feminine. Ooh, we get deep. He ain't lying. He's not lying. Ooh-wee. And you know what? While we're talking about black women, I'm not going to let black men slide. Hey, youngin', if you out there and you wearing your pants below your ass, pull them up because it's weird as shit. I don't want to see your asshole, boy. Pull your goddamn pants.
Y'all wear your pants like this, all right, guys?
You feel me? You feel me? Example A. TC's youngins, because I got love for the youngins, but I got some homies that's like damn near 30 years old, still sagging their pants off some weirdo shit. Man, pull your goddamn pants up, bro. Don't nobody want to see your drawers. That's weird. Them cats been eating Fruity Pebbles as well. Carrying on, I just want to acknowledge these super chats, and then we're going to get back to it. Eric Farmer writes, no lies told here, sir. I can't believe the guy from The Golden Child came on here with that ish. Like he wasn't going to get the straight facts. Appreciate it, Eric. Thank you for the super chat. Folks, if you're waiting to be merged on, we got about 5 people. We will merge you on. Just give me a hot second to hit these super chats. I think I've gotten through. If I missed your super chat, please retype it in and we will get to it. We're going to go ahead and pop in Jerron. Jerron, peace, Saint. Talk to us.
What's up, Marquett? I just had a question, like 2 quick questions. So I've been doing like the 3 days or whatever, and I've been approaching some females. But it's like when I text them, I don't really get a text back. So like, can you have any advice on how to get more text backs?
Okay, so one shout out to the Saint because he's doing his 3 days, which is to say you should be talking to 3 women a day, asking for contact information. So that's a beautiful thing because it's a law of large numbers, right? The more you talk to, the more shots you shoot, the more shots you make. So you're saying you're getting past the stage of actually getting the contact info, but there's a breakdown in between getting the contact info and getting responses. Is that what you're saying?
So let's take a look at what, I don't know if you mind sharing, but what kinds of things are you texting? Are you asking questions? Are you what are you saying?
Like when I start the conversation up, I'll just say like, hey, it's me from the store, like wherever I met them at. And then it's like they don't even be responding. I think they be like trying to like blow me off from the store or something. I think that's what it is. Okay.
So if you want to have more engagement, so remember what I said earlier about, I don't know if you were at this part where we said about gonna get into them. So what would show interest in them? In other words, what's be something interesting that you want to know about them? Even starting off with just like, you could just be casually like, what are you up to right now? Or how was your day? Or, what's going on? Something like that. If you just leave a sentence, I mean, that's happened to me before. I don't respond because someone says their name, what are you supposed to say back? So if you show interest, it gives somebody something to kind of hook them and give them a reason to want to respond to you.
Darnell, I'm going to pull you out so we can expand the chat. Appreciate you, Saint.
Yes, sir.
Okay, look. So one, I wouldn't hit her with the what are you up to? I wouldn't kick the game like that, Angela. I wouldn't do it like that. You heard me? Number one, first off, yeah, you can get the number, but that's not the whole battle. You heard me? When you go and approach the female, the question is how much time are you spending to get the number, right? And this is what I mean. If you spend a little more time spitting game at her when you first meet her, then she's more familiar with
She'll remember you.
She, you know, not only does she remember you, but she also feels more connected to you. So she feels more like she should respond because you built up some rapport. You built up a little bit of connection. You heard me? To the point where you don't have to text her and say, hey, shorty, it's the guy from the stove. You say, hey, shorty, it's Jerron. And she's like, oh, yeah, I remember Jerron. Absolutely. Right. So when you meet her, make sure that she remembers your name. You've made that clear, and you've actually had some conversation enough time that you can reference things. So maybe you talk to her for 10 minutes and then ask for the number. And when you bang her line on a text message, you can refer to something that you already discussed, or you can talk about something meaningful. You feel me? Because if you just say, hey, shorty, it's Jerron from the store, what's she gonna say? What is there to say to that? You feel me? You got to feed her something she could work off of. You heard me? You got to put the ball in her court to where it's easy for the bitch to dunk the ball. You know what I'm saying? If you say, hey, it's Jerron from the store. She's like, okay, sure, great. You know what I'm saying? But if you text her something based on a conversation you had, then you got some kind of action. You know what I'm saying? Like, and another thing to do is I always like to use voice memos instead of just a text message. So if I DM her on Instagram, I use a voice message because it's just more engaging. You know what I'm saying? If I'm on iMessage, I'll DM her a voice memo. Also, you have to ask yourself, if you're going to be DMing the girl, don't ever rush. A lot of times when you DM a girl after you met her, you trying to rush like, yo, when we going to kick it, shorty? Nah, you want to still get familiar with her. You don't want to be pressed to move things forward. You need to let her know, hey, I want to figure out if you're even worthy of me fucking with you. You see what I'm saying? So step one, spend more time initially. So when you first meet her, take 10 minutes before you ask for the number so that she doesn't feel like, oh, he just saw me and he just walked up to me and asked for my number. More so like he saw me, then he started talking to me. He figured out that I'm interesting or that there's something special about me, not just what he sees, but there's something about me that he likes. And you got to know her. And then when you text her, you can talk about some of those things you have in common. And that's going to get you a response. Ask her a meaningful question. Just say, what are you up to? What are you doing? These hoes ain't doing shit. They sitting at home bullshitting, watching TV. They're not doing anything interesting. So you have to have an engaging way to engage them the first time. You know what I'm saying? Send them a funny video clip or something like that. You know, get things rolling. Does that make sense?
For sure. All right. My last question is like, how do you go about like, because I'm not like a talkative guy. So like, how do you go about keeping a female entertained if you're not like that talkative?
I like that. Go ahead.
That's a great question. The best way to not have to talk is to ask questions.
That's right.
Get her talking.
All day.
Yeah. Just find something that you think's interesting or like something you want to know, and then you just have to sit and listen. You can respond if anything sticks out, but that takes the pressure off of you to have to keep a conversation rolling the whole time.
And Jerron, this is a common thing. So check this out. I already got something for you, bro. I could tell you're not a subscriber at www.patreon.com/thesaintandsinner spelled out. I know you're not.
I'm a subscriber.
You are.
Yeah.
Peace, Saint. Welcome to the class, and it's a pleasure to have you. Now, if you are, you know we got a whole goddamn list of questions you can ask a female. Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
See, check that out. It's called conversation topics. So go through there's a whole fucking list of conversation topics that you can ask a female. You heard me? So there's this game called Two Truths, One Lie. You ever heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you might tell shorty like, hey, you ever play Two Truths, One Lie? And I'm like, yeah, I played that. Okay, cool, for sure. Like, tell me two truths, one lie. Let me see if I can figure out what the lie is. Now you got her thinking, you got her talking, and she's doing most of the talking. You heard me? You don't really have to be engaging that much. You just get to fall back and do you. And then when she asks you, you pick two truths, one lie. And the thing is, based on what she says, and if you get it wrong or right, that just provides more things to talk about. You understand? Let's just do an example right now. We're just gonna do an example. Let's pretend I just met Angela. Oh yeah. So if I told you, we just met, you play two truths, one lie. You know what this game is? Kind of. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what the game is. That are true and one is false. But I can't. I have to guess, right? So you're trying to kind of trick me, right? Okay. So you're gonna tell me two things that are true and one thing that's a lie, but you're trying to trick me. So what you got?
Okay. Can you go first?
Can I go first? Yeah, absolutely. And just like she asked me to go first, Females will often ask you to go first because they might get nervous, or they might not be able to think of it, or they might want an example. So I'm gonna go first. You always want to be ready. You heard me? So being that you know you're gonna say this to her, be ready. Already have your 2 truths, 1 lie ready to go. Okay. So here's mine. Now she knows a lot about me, so it's gonna be a little bit harder.
I know, that's
right? So let me think of something good. 2 truths, 1 lie. Okay. 2 truths, 1 lie. Truth number 1. People used to call me Marquett. People used to call me the legend. And I used to live in an Asian country.
People did not call you Marky.
People didn't call me Marky?
No.
Wrong. People did call me Marky, which is some fucked up shit. Like in the 3rd, people used to call me Marky because there's one kid named Mark, and my grandma used to call me Mark. So I just put Mark on my like name box, and they're like, "Nah, we can't have 2 Marks. You're a Marky." So it's fucked up. They called me Marky for like a whole year in elementary school. Now, what about you?
Okay.
Right.
I grew up. Okay.
Now, hold on. While she's thinking, you see how, being that I said those things, like I got her interested. Now it's a game. Women love fun. So we've now got a little game going, you heard me? And once she gets it wrong, then I got a little story to tell. So it provides obvious conversation points, because she might ask, oh, why people call you Mark? You see what I'm saying? So you want to keep it fun because females love fun and lightness. Now I'm going to go back to her. What's your 2 truths, 1 lie?
Okay.
All right.
I got cut from the soccer team.
You got cut from the soccer team?
Sophomore year.
Okay. That's specific than a motherfucker. Goddamn.
I grew up without a television.
You grew up without a TV. Okay.
Yes. And I won a national championship.
In what? I won a national championship. In what? Goddamn. In what?
Track and field.
In track and field. Okay. She said she won a national championship in track and field. She said she grew up without a TV. And then she said that she got cut from the soccer team. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to say that the lie is she got cut from the soccer team. And I'm going to tell you why. And when you're talking to the girl, tell her why you're choosing your answers. So I think you definitely won a national championship in track and field because I know that you run track. Is that right? That's right?
Yeah.
I knew it. See, you heard me. And then you said that you grew up without a TV. Now we know white folks don't be broke to the point where they don't grow up with a TV, but I knew she grew up in Pennsylvania in like more of a like conservative household. So I believe that you did not have a TV, right?
I did not have a TV.
I'd be asking her about movies. She didn't even know what the hell the movie is. I'd be asking about basic ass shit like, yo, you ever heard this song? She's like, nope. So got that one. Then the last one, she said she got cut from the soccer team. Well, the thing, I ain't never heard her talk about soccer, so I knew that was a goddamn lie. Right now, when they tell you the answers, you get engagement. It gives you something to talk about because they got to share something about themselves. You feel me? And they pick what they share. So that's the key. It makes it easy because you don't have to guess good questions because they already provide you with topics. Now she gave me 3 things we could chop it up about. I could say, well, damn, girl, you ain't grow up with TV. You ain't never seen The Price is Right. You ain't never seen motherfucking Family Feud. How do you feel about that? Why your people didn't have no TV? Were you broke? Like, we can talk about all kind of things. Now, you see how I set that up and it's so rich?
Yeah, for sure. That gave me a lot of insight on like what to talk about and like some topic points and stuff.
Yeah.
Amen. I appreciate your support at patreon.com/thestayinthecenter. I truly appreciate that because you show love to people who show love to you. So shout out. Much appreciated.
Marquett.
Peace, Saint. All right, we're going to go ahead and merge in. Bilal, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. How's it going, Marky and Angela?
We got Joe.
Tuning into that. That's funny, man. I had my own type of nicknames growing up, too.
Okay.
I appreciate you having me on here. I had some thoughts about different things that were said, but trying to figure out, I don't want too much time. I want the next caller coming in, that kind of thing. But I'm trying to figure out.
Right. Talk to us.
Let me get the volume up here. Sorry. So about that last caller you had, I'm sitting here waiting. Not the last guy, the dude that was talking about.
Fruity Pebbles.
I forget his name. I guess I'm waiting here in the log, and I guess his name is Moses, that dude that we were talking about. Right. So So my work, it kind of centers around these ideas. And I think following you for some time now, you know, one thing that's regrettable that I have to just come out clean and say is I haven't subscribed to any Patreons. So yours would be on that list. So I'll be honest about that. But I do watch your videos. You know, I do keep close contact with some in terms of videos being updated with some people online. And I really respect your opinions on a lot of things and appreciate the things that you have to say about a lot of topics for sure.
Okay.
Regarding this idea, I think one of the things that has always kind of confused me, or I guess always put questions in my mind about getting to know you online, like listening to your opinion online, is, you know, your experience growing up and your experience as a Black man. And how that has affected you and your, I guess, your approach moving forward, and how that, how you've decided to like live your life. You know, it's from my experiences as a man of color, you know, it definitely puts a, you know, a big spin on things, and, you know, everybody's experience is different. But regarding the women, I'll get to my point. Okay. So regarding Black women in America, you know, I believe that the idea of women having, you know, intergenerational traumas and people having intergenerational traumas is a very true thing. You know, I work with many indigenous communities, and the realities, the products of colonization are very real in their communities to this day. So I find that there's a balance that people play with in their lives today in 2020, knowing the history of things, right? And one of those things being in America, it's slavery, right? In America, it's how have indigenous people and Black people have come about and made something of themselves, despite the issues that have come to them hundreds of years ago and last up to this day. So I guess my point is, I just wanted to, I guess, maybe have you think about what it means to be, I guess, someone such as myself, who is not Black, and looking from the outside in, I think I can still empathize with Black women and understand that, like, ultimately, the product of systemic, you know, the correctional facilities that men have been placed in, prison system being, you know, a product of slavery, you know, police being the product, actual just slave catchers in general.
I don't want to cut you out, my dear Saint. I don't want to cut you off rudely. I have let you speak at length for like 5 minutes. I'm just going to respond to what you're saying, because I want to respect what you said. You spoke at length for 5 minutes. I didn't say anything.
Time goes by, so I appreciate you cutting me off there.
Yeah. So I have a sense of where you're going with this. I want to say firstly, and knowledge is critical, and knowledge plus experience is unique. You can Google knowledge, but you can't Google experience. Let me provide a framework that is uncommon. So first off, Black folks in America, African Americans, have been miseducated in various ways. And if you haven't read Carter G. Woodson's The Miseducation of the Negro, you need to. But let me first say that they want to think of themselves as the descendants of slaves, as though no other people has been enslaved. That's ridiculous. The word slave, root word, Slav, referring to Eastern Europeans, who were for centuries referred to as most fit for being enslaved. Right. You look at the ancient Greeks, the Spartans. What did they do to the peoples they conquered? They enslaved them. You read works by Mario Ariola, who's one of the foremost scholars in Africa. And if you look at the practice of enslavement in Africa, you'll find that African peoples enslaved other Africans. It was a different type of enslavement than that practiced by Europeans, undoubtedly.
Definitely.
Now, we can talk about slavery a lot. The African Americans are not the only people who have been enslaved.
Correct.
Memory, yes, memory, whether it's for an individual or for a group historically, can feel like it was yesterday. But memory and the way you interpret experiences is a choice. What happens in this society, because of the prevalent thinking, is that we have gotten into a victim mentality. It's okay to acknowledge what has happened to us. The Armenians always reference the genocide of the Armenians at the hands of the Turks. The Jews always reference the Holocaust, and there's nothing wrong with the Black folks to acknowledge the Mayafa, the gruesome transatlantic enslavement of many millions. It's terrible.
Right.
But here's the thing, family. What you're going to do today is in you. It's your choice. So we could take a lot of time and cry over things that have happened in the past.
Right.
Or we can build strategies. We can build mindset. We can understand our history. We can understand what it actually means to be Black, and we can progress based on that. So let me tell you what I do for Black people today.
And it's all about action.
You can find many Black women who will tell you Marquett Devon Burton met me and told me that I need to grow my hair out of my head naturally and wear it naturally. Because you have African hair and it is beautiful and it is kinky and that's the way it should be, and it grows up reaching toward the sun. All things that have life grow upward. You should not have your hair dangling like a European. That's self-hatred. The most important white supremacy that we must destroy is not in white people. It's in Black people. It's their feelings of inferiority. So when we talk about white supremacy, the white supremacy we got to eradicate is the white supremacy practiced by people of color. Now, for people to say, okay, you know, we've received all this injustice, all this bad stuff. If you understand history, history is the warring and conquering of peoples. The problem is that the African American memory is so short that they trace their history back to transatlantic enslavement, and that's the beginning of their existence, rather than tracing it even farther back, because Black people have the deepest history, and they should trace their history back to the ancient Egyptians, who people would say are not Black. But that is white supremacy, because all of the actual historiography would reveal that all of the ancient Egyptians were Black, because they say that they're sub-Saharan Africans. No. The Sahara Desert, that did not exist during the time of the pharaohs. The desert has fish bones in it. Why? Because there were seasonal lakes. And the Africans, which you can trace their movements, they're called Bantu migrations. You can trace them through language, and also racial categories involve a techno-complex. It involves bone structures. It involves hair. It involves certain phenotypes. If you check the actual DNA of the ancient Egyptians, it's clearly African. All of
100%. Oh, 100%. Like, yeah, definitely.
So the problem is Black people don't know their history, but they also don't know their present. If you talk to a Black person, they don't even know what melanin really is. They talk about melanin, but they couldn't explain to you what a melanocyte is, the thing that produces melanin. Further, they couldn't tell you the benefits of melanin. For example, people with white eyes, they end up with macular degeneration, which is why you see senior citizens with those big ass glasses, because their eyes are damaged. Conversely, Africans, or people with a lot of melanin concentration, dark eyes, when the chromatin in their eyes breaks down from the vertical rays of the sun, the melanin acts as a loose substrate and protects their eyes from the damaging rays, which is why you often don't see Black people with those big ass glasses in old age, because melanin is a preserving chemical. It's damn near a superpower.
Yes, sir.
Sun is a life-giving force. It gives life to Black people. It destroys those who don't have melanin, which is why in Australia, the instances of skin cancer are very high, because those people are pale and they should not be there. They're only there from concrete. But here's the thing. All this knowledge. I have more knowledge than Moses, the youngin who tried to hop in. Way more knowledge than him.
100%.
Experience than him. I've done more for Black people than him. And I'm not trying to be humble right now. I'm being honest about what I've actually done.
And that's what it's got to be.
Here's the thing, though. You never will hear me complaining. When you read my book, The Black Box, you will hear the story of a young Black man who suffered white supremacy. Complaining about white supremacy did not help me surmount it. Complaining about racism did not help me get over it.
100%. But that's totally true. I agree with you, and everything you said there. Those are all factual things. Now, as a Black man, you know, living in this in America, there's a lot of things that the culture has to do with your success, right? And as Black women, with the idea, like I mentioned, we often talk about we say, and you've said it many times, about having a woman needs to be led, right? And a woman needs to be led in order for that beauty to come out in life. But when we talk about the Black man not being prevalent and not being strong in these communities, you know, communities that are systemically, you know, legislation has been passed in these communities for them to be in the condition that they are. You know, Chicago is the best example of this. Baltimore is the best example of this, right? These places
I lived in both places. I lived in Chicago on the south side. I lived all over Baltimore.
100%. I don't mention this, to say with any type of connotation that you have no idea. Like I come with the full understanding that you have lived that life. I have not lived that life. I've lived this by a book, and I understand more so on the indigenous side of things. But I'm just trying to speak because I've done the research, and I've listened to many personal accounts in person. Many types of these types of things. And what I'm just trying to say is that when we talk about the masculinity of women and the imbalance that we talk about with men and women in society, I guess it spans outside of race, but we're talking about this situation right now. When there's no black men to lead, and the system has on purpose removed their black men, that's a fact. It's a fact for men to be targeted and removed from the home so as to destroy the home. So as to destroy the process of people growing. So that's why there's generational trauma of women not being able to take care of their child. Therefore, man does not know how to be led. But man does not.
You're focusing on the problems. Exactly. See, that's what I'm about is the solutions. I understand.
I totally agree with that. Like I totally I've made.
Do you have a closing statement for us? Do you have a closing statement for us? I'll give you about 20 seconds to wrap up your statement.
So, okay, sure. I appreciate you having me on here. I appreciate you listening to me having this conversation, Marquette. I respect having such an important dialogue. I love to try and figure out a way that we can get in contact, maybe potentially a consultation. I know you're a busy man. Angela, thank you for being online here and giving these men some game. I've been peeping it, and I appreciate it a lot. Thanks a lot, Marquette.
Thank you, Bilal. And I do want to tell everyone, I don't disagree with anything that Bilal has said. He's not lied about anything. I'm just saying that as a mature man, my focus is not on describing the problems because we can do that endlessly. My focus is on building organizations to help all peoples. And if you look at my following is overwhelmingly black male. You look at my work has overwhelmingly benefited.
You're a great example. You're a great example for sure. There's a reason you have many followers.
So I just want to point that out in terms of anyone can talk. And it has been said that a fool can ask more questions than 1,000 wise men can answer. And so I always want people to know that when I'm talking on the practical things you can use today to make your life better. Mm-hmm. And that's all I focus on. We can get into philosophical conversations, but philosophy doesn't pay bills. Mm-hmm. Endless questioning doesn't pay bills. And so I'm always going to hear about how to get your bills paid, because the biggest issue for black people has always been economic. If you've learned anything from the Jewish people, and I have a video called What Can We Learn from the Jews? If you learn anything from the Jewish people, who used to be a hated people, they first went for economics. You don't see Jewish people out in the streets marching and protesting. That's some goofy shit. You see Jewish people in the top universities earning. You see Jewish people in elite professions earning. You see Jewish people supporting one another. If you're within the class, and I fuck with you, whether you're black, blue, brown, or Australian, I don't care, because we share values. And I will always say, just because we are alike in skin does not mean we are kin, because some people believe in nonsense. Yes. Thank you, my brother, for sharing.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Let's go ahead and merge in some of the saints. Oh, and Garvey, I'm gonna bring you in a second. I just want to acknowledge Rex. Rex asked, how does he merge in? Rex, I'm gonna send that link right now for you to join the call. Garvey, talk to us. Saint, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing? You guys doing good?
Feeling
okay.
Absolutely, Saint.
Right on. Listen, okay, so I had two things real quick, and I know everyone has had a lot of airtime, so I'm gonna keep it quick. So the very first thing I'm gonna say, when you were talking to Moses and you were talking to the other two gentlemen about black people, it's specifically about black women, you're not lying. But it also underlines a huge issue that's going on right now with the world, is that people don't like the truth, because the truth doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound good, because when you were talking to Moses, you weren't saying anything wrong. This is the third black man that's gone on to say that you are completely right about black women. And I don't hate black women. I love black women. If I could have them all, I'd have them all. But your boy can't. Okay, so we'll take what we can. So that was point number one. Point number two. Yes, sir. Talking to I believe your co-host is Angela. Is that her name? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. So Angela, I believe someone had a question. It was a super chat asking, it was a single father asking, how do women feel about single fathers? And Angela said, you know, we love him and all that.
Right.
And I do agree. You know, that's one thing I've personally realized, even though I'm not a father, but whenever I go out with my nieces and nephew, I definitely get a lot more eyes, especially women, of course. But the thing is, I feel that as a man, you're entering a dangerous arena, you know, because yes, you're completely right. You're gonna get more attention from women because they see how you interact with children, and I mean, if you're not being rude, they're gonna like that. But my biggest thing is most of these women are not ready to be mothers because being a mother is hard. What's even harder is being a mother to a child that's not yours, and you have to take that into consideration. So that's all I had to say. Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
That's a great addition. Yeah.
Garvey always, he got game.
Yeah, that's a great addition to that, Garvey. And I would say, like, if you're a man with a child, and back to my point of getting clear on what you want in a woman, number one on that list should be like a woman who's nurturing, kind, and loves children. Because you know your job is to protect that child and to give it a family. So that should be on the list of, you know, top qualities that you're looking for in a woman. And if you bring her around the child, like to your point, that was a great addition, and you don't get the sense that she's nurturing or warm or that she sees the child as a threat. No matter how attractive she is, that's going to destroy the home environment you're trying to create.
Agreed. Garvey, I appreciate you hopping on. And one thing I love about you saying is that you always have such a gentleness about yourself. And it's very clear that you're a man led by love. And I really admire that because I know that I come off gruff. You know, I know that I come out with the sword swinging, you heard me? I come out here like, look, nigga, you eat Fruity Pebbles, you're weird, and I'm slapping everybody, you heard me? So I appreciate that you can bring a balance to the savage out here, man. And the funny thing is that, you know, I try to honor these gentlemen who come on and have contrarian opinions because there's nothing wrong with building and sharing knowledge. And I think that those who are uncertain get to hear facts and logic lined up next to emotions, and they get a better understanding and seeing the truth lined up next to untrue things. So that's the reason I let them talk. I'm not trying to give airtime to negative people or to haters. I'm trying to honor people who have opinions. And in some cases, you know, they're respectful, like Bilal. I found to be a very respectful young man. He was a bit verbose. And obviously with the core topic of this live being high value women, we're a bit off topic, but I wanted to honor the young man and what he had to share. Moses, the gentleman who was eating Fruity Pebbles, he was clearly very feminine in that. What kind of cat runs away during a conversation? Like, we're having a civil conversation, you just ran away. And I initially, when he spoke at length, I didn't interrupt him one time. That's called respect. Then when I started speaking, he interrupted me. That's called lack of respect. So now the foundation has been shattered. And then when we start talking, I see that it's pure emotionalism. And so that's not the kind of person I would let back on a live, because no one's going to get value if we're talking over each other. You know, like, he's not a reasonable person. I don't have to define someone as, I don't have to agree with someone to say that they're reasonable. Like Bilal, the last gentleman who was on, I found him to be a reasonable young man. Like, I could have a dialogue with him. I don't agree with his perspective, but I think that other people hearing him can learn something meaningful. And so shout out to Bilal, shout out to the indigenous peoples, and most of all, shout out to the saints who are working to make their life better. I very much so want people to understand, how can you attack white supremacy when you're basing your outlook on racism? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you attack white supremacy when you yourself are seeing the whole world as a racist world? Right. When you have the sass and you got a white guy in Australia, our chief technology officer is a white guy in Australia. You know what I'm saying? We got Preston. I don't even know what ethnicity Preston is because I never asked him because I don't care. He lives in Hawaii, right? And I don't mean to be putting people's business out there, but the fact is we have a large collection of young men who share values, a variety of races, different nationalities. That is what the world should be moving to. If that is not something that deconstructs white supremacy, I don't know what is. And so, Garvey, I appreciate you coming. And I love your name too, M. Garvey, because people don't know that's the Honorable Marcus Garvey. And if we want to talk African-American history and Black history and Pan-Africanism, I probably know more than all of the people who purport to be Pan-Africanists. I'm certain of it. But they get on and they've heard a few things from Dr. Umar, and now they're an expert. They never built a thing. And that's the problem, is that I try to tell these men build. They don't waste their time destroying. You know, men find solutions. They don't waste their time focusing on problems. A woman doesn't want a man who's like, oh, let me tell you what the problems are. A woman wants a man who says, chill, baby. I know that there's problems. Let me find a solution. I can make it happen. I don't give a fuck what the problems are. We can make it happen. And so for the saints, I want you guys to know that's how we're centered. We're not centered on complaining. We're centered on solutions. Garvey, was there anything else you wanted to share with the people?
Honestly, nah, man. I hear what you're saying. Thank you. That's really all I had to say. I'm probably gonna drop off after this. Thank you for having me. Shout out to the nation, and yeah, man. You have a good night. Good night, Angela. You guys take it easy.
Peace, Saint. Rex.
How we doing?
I'm feeling like a million Bitcoin. Talk to us.
Hey, that's what's up. All right. My name is Rex. Government name, Reginald Clarence Williams Jr. I don't mind that being out there. It is what it is. Right. Appreciate the knowledge, appreciate the game. I feel like God put it on my spirit to speak to Moses. If you come back to this video, I feel like you're supposed to get this message from me directly. Whenever you think about,
hold on.
Whenever you
let me merge Moses in real quick. He came back.
Okay.
I'm about to.
Oh, whoa, that's crazy. Okay.
Moses, if you would give the gentleman a moment to speak uninterrupted, and then feel free to respond. Is that cool?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for adding me up back on.
Sure.
Okay. I believe this was the gentleman that got off the call earlier.
That was me, bro.
This is
okay.
The run.
Yes. Okay. So anytime you're thinking of a perspective about a person where there may be a problem added towards them within their nature, something that might be not balanced, you have to come at it from I'm not gonna say you have to. I like to entertain coming at it from a perspective that people less consider, such as they'll see something in their reality, because they say perspective is reality. The perspective that you see in that moment is what is real to you within that moment, but you don't know where that perspective came from. You don't know what influenced that person. You don't know what they've been through and different things of that nature. Also, like Marquett, I'm pretty sure he's touched on things that have happened systemically or throughout history. People in higher positions tend to play chess with anybody that's like lower than them. They can move things around. They can make things happen. If you have a vision and you want things to be put into place, you're going to say, if I put this over here, if I drop this in this pond, it'll take 60 days for this ripple to reach over there. And those people are going to take the effect of that ripple, and it's going to affect all of their stuff. And while they're figuring that out, I'm going to do these other 10,000 things. And they can do with that what they will, but I'm still going to get whatever objective I need complete. And we are the result of that. So our women are the result of what has happened to our Black men. The households and the children are the results of what has happened to our Black men and women, and throughout slavery and through whatever else you want to put on that front. So you can't just attack the product of the current environment, being the men of the current environment, to influence the people around them, because they're still trying to figure it out. So if you had a problem with Sir Marquett here, I'm not going to say it's not valid. I can see where it could be coming from, but you have to consider those things in perspective as well. That's what I had on my heart. And it's crazy that you got on the call, so evidently I'm listening to the right thing. I did have something for you, Marquett and Angela, if I still have time.
You do. And before you do that, I want to acknowledge Count Rios, who writes, your thoughts on Qigong, Ni Gong as a tool for men. Count Rios, I ain't gonna lie to you, bruh. I don't know what the fuck that is, okay? So what you can take to the bank is, when I'm ignorant, I will let you know. And I don't know what the fuck that is, but I did want to acknowledge that, fam. If you want to DM me some notes on that and just say, hey, I super chatted, here's a YouTube link on Qigong, Nyongong. Happy to look into it, but I don't know what in the fuck that is. It sounds like an appetizer at is what it sounds like. I don't know what it is.
I believe it's a way to move your energy, kind of like Tai Chi.
Okay.
in regards to maybe semen retention or something.
Yeah. Okay. What was the second piece you had, Saint?
Okay, so I was raised from my perspective to be a gentleman, treat a woman well, treat her with respect, all these different things. And at an early age, maybe whenever I was in high school, I knew that I was advancing mentally faster than a lot of the people around me, and that worried me because I didn't feel like the women around me would be able to keep up. So I pulled back on purpose to try and, you know, find whoever that would be. Now that I am a bit older, I realize I'm going to have to come into those habits anyway, making me a high value male. But there's a lot that I see recently about how marriage is semi like unrealistic in today's society, and it works against us men and more so in the favor of women. And it gets kind of scary because you just like never know. So my question, I guess, would be, how would I find a high value woman without an ulterior motive?
That's an excellent question. Do you mean ulterior motive, meaning she's looking to use you for stability or financial profit or something? Or what do you mean ulterior motive?
I believe it would be in that lane. Like, for somebody like me, if I get married to a woman, that's a vow to God, and that's something on a completely different level. I value that very highly. But there can people that see that as simply security and a business move in a lot of cases. And, you know, business is business, period. No matter what business move you make, you can't be hurt because it's just business. So it's like, how do you find the snakes versus the jewels, I suppose?
Yeah. Do you trust that if you made, if you like and visualize your ideal woman who would benefit you and who would bring you up like in all areas of life, like be an amazing partner for you, do you trust yourself to be able to tell when she appears?
I trust my intuition. I trust my analytical skills. But some people are just good, you know? Like,
so your fear is that you would be deceived?
Yes.
What I'm getting at is sometimes if you haven't really clear about the qualities that you want, and there's an attraction is the only base of like why you would approach a woman or not, you are going to constantly be second guessing and wondering who she is. If the only thing that you've used in the past to evaluate whether or not a woman's a good fit for you is like the connection or the chemistry. But when the first step I shared today was just getting clear on all the values and characteristics you're looking for in her. So, and then you can always test those things. Like if you need a woman who is honest or who is kind or who's sincere or those sorts of things, like you can start to look, you have to spend the time looking in her environment. And it can't just be all like your dates are just all like, I just think sexual chemistry gets in the way of truly knowing character. So like the longer you can wait for that and the more you can just get to see like, do I actually even like this person? Do I like the qualities in her? Is she going to like bring me up? Just do I feel good when I'm with her? Not feel good because of like the chemistry, but do I feel good inside? Like, does she bring out the best in me? Then I don't think you're going to go wrong with that. But I just think a lot of men don't get clear about that, and they get caught up in the physical attraction, the sexual attraction, and then they kind of lose their ability to analyze whether or not she's a good person. And you can be deceived because something looks so good and is so appealing.
Yeah.
But I think if you stick with the values and then you look at her life to mirror, like do the actions and the situations in her life mirror the values that you want in a woman, I think it'll really help you with that selection process.
And you think that'd be enough to deal with like a I guess a bait and switch? Like, I've had a situation before where I wanted to propose to someone, but I was so scared that after I would, the behavior would just completely change, whether it be down the road or something of that nature, to the point where, hey, it's too late and I'm not trying to divorce anybody.
I see. Did you have indications from her that made you not trust her character? I'm
big on like people's habits. Like I used to fall in love with people's hearts so much that I could see their potential. I wouldn't really say, okay, I know you can be this person, so I'm in love with that person. I'd be like, I'm in love with you now, but I understand that you haven't gone through your trials and tribulations to get to that person that you're even trying to be. So I have to be on this journey with you. But even on that journey, if your lowest low is like let's say you're used to punching things when you get extremely mad, but you're working on your anger. What does that translate to when you experience a trauma like a death in the family? Like, how will you deal with that amount of rage? Are you going to break your own bones? Are you going to take it out on me? Like, will you remember the healthy lessons you've grasped throughout your journey after we're married?
I want to refer to something Marquett said earlier, which is you don't want to marry somebody that you need to fix up. You don't want to be with somebody. So if she hasn't done her own work to stop her own anger issues before you met her, and she's at a place right now where she says she doesn't want to be angry, but she's still punching things, that's a no. Especially if you wrote down on your list of things that you don't want in a woman and that you do want in a woman, and one of them is like you don't want a woman who can't control her anger, and you're seeing that, that's a no. Like, you can't have faith that she'll work on it herself. She has to already have worked on it herself. If you meet a woman and she's like not in really great shape, and then she starts going to the gym because she met you, you can pretty much rest assured she's going to stop going to the gym at some point, because that wasn't already part of who she was when you met her. You know, yes. If she was a heavy drinker and you met her and you said, hey, I don't really like it when you drink that much, and then she stops, you probably can guess that she's going to go back to it at some point. So I'm validating your fear that yes, she might not change if she's made changes when she met you. She has to be the person that you're already looking for when you meet her, not somebody that you're hoping to fix up or hoping will step up her behavior. That's a no. You know, and that's why getting really clear on what you do and don't want is so important, because you can always check reference, like, man, I really like these 10 things about her. She's so amazing, but I see these 3 behaviors, and I have to be real that it doesn't matter that I think she could do it. She's not doing it, and I don't want her to change because of me, because it won't last. So you're right. I'm validating your fear that things could go back, and they probably will if they're not already part of her when you meet her.
Bless. Okay, that helps.
Yeah.
True.
Yes, sir.
True. Look, people can only pretend for so long. So number one, when you deal with a woman and you're straightforward with her, and you're dealing with her for, maybe 2 years, I don't know nobody that can pretend for 2 years. A boxer can look good in round 1, 2, and 3, but when they get in that deep water and time wears on, you're gonna see what's real. So if your eyes are open and you're being honest and you're a rational man, when who she is shows up, if you're watching and listening and you're acknowledging it and accepting who she is, then you're going to be fine. If you're deluding yourself and you're leading with the heart instead of your rationality, well, then you're going to have problems. In my book, The Black Box, at the end of one of the chapters, I summarize and I explain to you that people always show you who they are. That's why when I talk to women, and if they have any doubt, I don't know if you're really who you say you are, I'm like, look, bitch, I'm 32 years old. You can check my background. Everything I have been is public knowledge. Everything I've been. As I said earlier, a friend that I grew up with is on this live chat. I can't sit here and make up stuff. People who actually know me and grew up with me since I was a young boy are on this live chat. So if I say I've always been the big homie, you can rest assured. I wrote my life in a book. It's printed. I'm not going to make up lies and put them out publicly. We're in an era where everything that you are and have been can be found. If you're a real wise man, you're going to listen and learn. You're going to talk to the people around her. You're going to know that birds of a feather flock together and are reflections of who she is. Right. So if you are really following the way of the assassin, bro, you're going to be good to go. I've even had consultations with a lot of brothers, particularly Muslim brothers, who say, hey, I'm looking at this woman for marriage. This has been my experience with her. This is what she says. This is what she does. This is what her family's like. This is what her friends are like. And sometimes I say, hey, no one's perfect. This is a good woman. Proceed, please. Other times I say, bro, that's a red flag. Man, you better run out of that goddamn house like it's burning down. And so I encourage you to talk to wise men who have experience, because there are times where your mind will play tricks on you. You understand what I'm saying? Where love will fool you. Where good vagina will fool you. And so you have to talk to someone outside of you who can look at it objectively. Because at the end of the day, will it impact my life, who you marry? No. I'm just here to give you good advice out of love. So I appreciate you coming on and asking this question, but I can tell that you are a wise man. And so I don't think you're going to have any problems with this.
Yeah, that's a great question. Blessings. Yeah, and I genuinely feel for men. I think a lot of men do get kind of tricked in the beginning, So my advice today is to help you guys find the exact woman that you want, not one that you have to fix up. And so everything that I said is like to empower you to like get clear on what you want, get clear on what you don't want, and not meet somebody with potential, but somebody who's right for you.
Right.
At that exact time.
They're good now. They're not going to be good if they improve, fill in the blank. And the last thing, Sasson law. We don't get married under the law of the United States of America. We don't get married under the law of India or the law of the United Kingdom. Our word is bond. If we tell the woman, you are my wife, she your wife, you are mutually obligated. But to get married under the law of this land is to put yourself in a tremendous disadvantage. So I would never put this government or any human being above you and your authority. You should seek a woman who is willing to follow your authority and believes in your word. So do not get married under the law of this land, because you will suffer in the off chance that you end up in a divorce. So Saint, I appreciate you, Rex, joining the call. Yeah, absolutely.
We had an interesting conversation earlier about women who tend to deceive men. And so one of men's weaknesses is obviously they're visual creatures. And so sexual attraction can be built by a woman either faking some of her features or enhancing some of her features. So we had a really interesting discussion. Like if the woman's already presenting herself as some falsity to who she is, meaning maybe her hair is fake, her lashes are fake, her nails are fake, there's a lot of makeup, things are enhanced. Obviously that's going to appeal to a certain part of a man, but you have to think about who she's already showing you that she's not really who she is. She's already showing you an enhanced version that she wants to attract you to and not her true self. So I think it's just, and I have no judgment against women who who use makeup sort of thing. I'm just saying to protect you as a man, again, not looking through the eyes of your attraction or through the sexual chemistry, but looking at like, hey, this woman's already presenting herself to me in a slightly altered fashion. Who do I really wake up next to? What else is she possibly presenting to me that's not really what it is?
Yes. I've picked up on that before. I appreciate that.
Yeah, okay.
Right. You long ass fake eyelashes. Those are the worst.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate both of y'all. My goal is to become a part of the Assassins very soon. Get your book, sir. I don't know if people do this kind of thing, but if there was anybody that you would think about doing a collaboration with, I would highly recommend a young lady by the name of Danica Marie. I love your host right now. She's beautiful. Don't mean to take any shine away from you. And yeah, that's kind of all I had to say. I appreciate both of y'all.
Hey, Rex, if you can set it up with her, I'd be interested to consider that. If you set it up, let me know, man. Appreciate you joining. Peace.
Peace.